Hey guys, Curtis Alexander, I'm a pharmacist. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how important selenium is for your thyroid, what it does, should you supplement, and how you should get selenium to help your thyroid function. So let's hop right into it. First of all, you probably heard, hey, selenium is important. Let's talk about the why of that. There's a few reasons. First of all, when your body produces thyroid hormones, it actually can release oxygen free radicals. And selenium is part of a group of selenoproteins where one of its roles is it can act as an antioxidant. So it helps decrease some of that oxidative damage that we can get when we're producing thyroid hormones. The other thing is selenoproteins are also part of an enzyme group. One of those enzyme groups is deiodinases. And what those do is they help convert thyroid hormone from T4 to T3. As you may already know, T4 is kind of more of our storage inactive hormone. It is active in certain parts of the body, but we want our body converting to T3. Selenium's critical as part of that deiodinase enzyme to make that happen. And the other thing that we can see is selenium is protective, particularly if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, because you can produce antibodies and it helps decrease those antibodies. There's two of them, a TPO and a TG antibody. So selenium's critical for that. The other thing that we can see is when your selenium levels are low, you can actually end up losing more iodine. And iodine, as you can see, very important because we're taking iodine molecules off. On T4, you have 4 iodine molecules around that. To go to T3, it takes 1 off. But if you don't have enough iodine from having too low of selenium, that becomes a problem. And the end result of that is you can still produce that thyroid hormone, but you lose the protective effects that selenium gives us. So let's move on to should you supplement. It sounds great in theory, but there's a couple of issues with that. First of all, you have to know your status. You have to know your selenium status. You have to know your iodine status, because if you supplement with selenium, and let's say you're low in iodine, which for most people is going to be rare, you can see thyroid function decrease. And on the flip side, if you supplement with iodine, you can increase the damage from Hashimoto's thyroiditis because you don't have enough selenium to provide that protective effect from the antibodies. I'm not saying you shouldn't supplement. What I am saying is if you're going to supplement, it's critical that you know your blood levels ahead of time, or you could introduce problems. That's why I prefer to see people get it from food. The primary foods, we're going to be looking at animal-based foods, beef liver, seafood, eggs, oysters, cottage cheese. These are great sources of selenium. Now, one of the foods I did not mention was Brazil nuts. Any place you read, they're going to be like, oh, Brazil nuts are extremely high in selenium. Just have a couple of those, pardon me. And you can, they're very high in selenium. But the other thing people fail to mention, they're low in fat soluble vitamins. Now, people will look at that and go, oh, that's not true. It has vitamin A. But the reason it has high amounts of, vitamin E, not vitamin A, the reason it has high amounts of vitamin E, and you're going to see this across the board for foods, natural foods that are high in polyunsaturated fatty acids, like nuts are, particularly Brazil nuts, they automatically include high amounts of vitamin E in there to provide a protective effect against those substances that are in there. So I'm not a fan of supplementing with Brazil nuts to get your selenium. I prefer to get it other ways. I think you should be shooting for, most people are going to say 55 to 75 micrograms a day of selenium. Just to give you an idea, 1 egg gives you 20 micrograms. In my typical breakfast, I'm going to get 60 to 80 micrograms of selenium. So it's very easy to get it from your diet. 3 ounces of halibut is 38.8 micrograms. Again, I'm not saying that I haven't ever supplemented with selenium. I have tried thyroid supplements, and I think they have their place, but it's very important that you know what you're getting into, how much you're taking, and your status before you start doing that, okay? So let me know in the comments, guys, have you supplemented with selenium? Any questions on this video, any comments on thyroid function? leave it in the comments. Helpful for me, helpful for other people that are watching the video. Speaking of helpful, I hope this was. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.